what makes it nice. Pretty much all the broadcasters in the U.S. are TVU.
Cool.
So that gives you a direct. David.
So this is a fun little test.
Yeah.
See how this works.
Okay.
So please let me know in the chat if you can see things clearly, hear things clearly.
What I do is I use the
Always helpful.
QR.
Oh, no, to know that it's working, or if it's not working.
That's it.
It's fun. I wasn't planning on going live from NAB, but I figured might as well give it a shot.
Make contact with you.
Test it out.
Just use that. Go to our website.
See if it works well enough.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
And the other thing too that I think would probably be useful to you, I just put a bug in your ear. I'm sure there are times you're doing things that you probably just need internet connectivity.
Yeah. Like in remote situations?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Because this booth doesn't have internet, so this is my internet, so it gives me
Hopefully you can hear me.
That's awesome.
Internet.
I'll actually record a clip of the setup. Because why not?
Situations.
Yeah. That's what NAB's all about, right? The new equipment, the new gear, testing stuff out, seeing if it works, seeing what it feels like, seeing what it looks like, getting some hands-on.
Are we live?
Oh yeah, I went live.
Hi. Welcome to NAB.
I want to make sure the audio's working. Ooh, do you want to pull it up on your phone and see?
I can do that.
Just make sure it sounds clear enough. I'm going to walk around for a little bit. We're actually trying to head over to the Comica booth. We've been here for a little bit. Been here maybe, 2 hours so far?
Yes, at least 2 hours, been walking around. We've made one full pass through the convention. Much smaller than years past. We haven't been here since pre-pandemic, so it is interesting to see the scale at which it used to be seems to be shrunken down by at least half. So still cool. Still cool.
Right now we're in the North Hall. We used to start in the South Hall because it was both. And this year it's just the North. So a little smaller.
Which one's
scaling
it on?
Down.
Your profile?
Yes. On my personal channel. So yeah, things are scaling down a little bit, it seems like, or things have scaled down quite a bit. The Atomos booth is the one that's most noticeable to me. That one used to be quite a bit bigger. It's not small, but smaller than it was. Is the audio good or no audio?
Can't tell. Hold on. No, it sounds great.
Oh, good. Sounds. The DJI mics are working as they should. I hope it sounds good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it sounds good.
It's a little shaky because
I was waiting to hear my voice, but with a delay, and then it finally got caught up. We're all good now.
Yeah, it's a little shaky because do you know the stabilizer on the iPhone doesn't work on the YouTube streaming?
Oh no.
Yeah. So if you're streaming from a phone to YouTube, the normal stabilization that the iPhone has just doesn't work. So sorry that it's shaky. I don't have a gimbal or anything. Just handheld.
That's good
for today.
It's one of the limitations of going live as opposed to uploading after the fact.
All right, let's see. All messages.
Is it better to get it live and shaky, or?
Oh, well, we'll do both. That's why we got both. I'm actively holding a GH6 with an iPhone on top of it. Oh, you want to get a shot of my setup here?
Oh yeah,
with your camera.
Yeah, I just need to throw away this pamphlet,
and then I can film a shot of your camera. Here.
Stand over here. Turn that way.
All right, turning. Get a B-roll shot here. I was very quietly.
Get a reverse shot of this.
I was very quiet.
Rotate this way.
What, this way? All right. All right.
Oh yeah! Look at all the bokeh.
Is there some good bokeh? Oh, DJI's over there.
There's a huge booth right here that's just lights. So stay there.
All right, perfect. I'm trying to be a statue.
Oh yeah. This looks great. And smiling. There we go.
Hey, David, not you, David, different David says, nice of you to be doing this
Another
again.
David?
I know, we're trying to, I said on my stream last night that I'm trying to resurrect the excitement.
You're trying to resurrect your old subscribers?
Well, on my channel, no.
Where'd they go?
I'm not as concerned about that. It's funny how much.
I think people think that you've been resurrected. They're like, he's back! He's back! He's making videos again!
We need to bring the channel back. We need to bring NAB back. NAB's fallen off a little bit.
A little? This place used
It's
to
a
be
Sunday.
packed.
It's a Sunday. All right.
I mean, that's just the digital age. I feel you don't need to be here.
You don't. You don't. There's no reason to come.
I mean, we came extremely last minute, just because
We were, as of yesterday, we were decided.
just for S's and G's. We were like, you know what we should do? We should go to Vegas.
It's not too far of a trip for us, and it's on a Sunday. That's easy enough.
Cool. Yeah, let's walk around.
Yeah, let's do it. Where do you want to go? David says, yeah, last time you had long hair and I had hair. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too, David. Well, I can't see you, but I see you're chatting, which is very nice to have you here with us. I did have long hair. I've had long hair 3 times that I've grown it out and cut it, so back to the short look for now. So I want to go, we went to Aputure before. We could go back over to Aputure, David, if you want to. Do you want to show off the new 300C from Amaran or the 150C?
Oh yeah, right here.
We should double back a little bit though, because I do want to go to Comica.
Okay.
New sensor from Atomos. I haven't seen it yet. We went by the Atomos booth, but
Amarans.
yeah, what's the deal with these?
So these are pretty sweet. I actually haven't looked at all at these, but just seeing them, I mean, I have the original Amarans, so what would be 100s, but extremely powerful, just less robust as the Aputures. So the Aputure is made of aluminum, everything, which I don't know, I think, are these all plastic? It feels plastic. So these are much more lightweight, easier to use.
Full color though, right? Full RGB?
These ones, yes, these are the color versions, but just more powerful in general as well. But yeah, if anyone's looking for a really good lighting solution that's not the bigger, more expensive versions, these do extremely well, especially if you're in like in a controlled environment, if you're not traveling as much, which like my kit that I use, like when I do like small run and gun interviews, all have the Amarans instead of my Aputure lights, just because they're so much lighter weight. Granted, I'm the only one with my hands on them, so I know that they're not necessarily going to get, you know, broken, but I've loved them. The color's consistent, looks great. But ultimately, they're very lightweight, so you can fly them out without worrying too much about, you know, any counterweight, doing all that stuff. Oh, but definitely, because they're plastic, the one thing I did notice is I have this off-brand spotlight, and it like melted the plastic. So you gotta watch out for that. That's why the other versions are made of metal, so they don't.
Yeah, which you need the bigger Fresnel for the 600, because I have the tinier Fresnel.
Yeah.
So there's some accessory compatibility you got to make sure you've got dialed in.
Which we were even talking about. So like they have the Ds and the Xs, right? The daylight and then the bicolor.
Bicolor, yeah.
But the Cs, I've seen a lot better looking stuff that you can get with the Cs, especially when you're trying to match different light coming through windows. Because ideally you want daylight, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna have daylight with daylight. It'll look great. But the issue that we've been running into more recently was sometimes windows can have like a green cast, but then we've also been putting NDs on windows as well, which makes it even weirder. You know, it's like bluish green. So
Yeah, like
having-
that color of glass.
Yeah, and then having the R lights, it just looks so much like cleaner and whiter. But it would be interesting to try to match the colors, which we have meters that allows us to like read the exact color. So it'd be interesting. I think we're going to invest in a 600C, hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah, and the melting spotlight was the accessory piece melted.
Yeah, it was just
It was not the
accessory,
light.
not the light itself. Yeah. Granted, I shouldn't have been using it for that. It was just readily accessible, and I learned my lesson. So
Cool. Let's double back to Comica. Speaking of time passing and getting older, which I don't need these glasses.
yeah, which briefly we stopped by the other booth up there. Was it the GVM, the good video maker?
Great video maker.
Great video maker.
They weren't they right around the corner over here? They're over by Godox,
over there.
GVM.
Which Strawn's has had some. I don't know if you want to briefly walk over there or if you want to go
Yeah.
to Comica.
Well, the reason I bought a GVM light was years ago. It was the cheapest RGB light on Amazon. I think it was only like $100 for a Bowen's mount RGB light. And now they've stepped their game up quite a bit.
Well, it's interesting how strikingly similar their products look to Aputure's, which when we were over there, I mentioned, I was like, oh, this kind of looks like Aputure, and immediately they're like, no, no Aputure.
It's all the same. It's all the same stuff.
Because the initial thing I noticed was the light mat, which I'm a big fan of the light mat that Aputure had come out with, which it seems like everyone, even Godox over here, has their version of light mats.
Yeah, Godox has some stuff
But
over
these
there. Everyone's
guys-
got the colorful LEDs these days.
These guys look like an even better solution because I'm pretty sure the Aputure lights, at least some of the reviews that we've seen online, is that
You were saying that the cord was like attached.
so like packing up the cord. This one actually detaches here, which would make it a lot easier to pack.
How's it going?
Yeah, do the social media.
Yeah, we're live right now on YouTube.
Sweet. But yeah, check out the housing on this guy. Looks oddly familiar, especially with that ballast. But definitely better than the old light that you had.
Yeah, it's amazing how much stuff changes in a couple years, and
Big fan of those light mats. though.
Oh yeah, these are cool.
The color ones especially, because some of the issues that we run into a lot is trying to get our lights that we have, which are much larger. We have huge lighting modifiers, which look great when you have enough space to use it. But what we've been wanting more so is having something that's a lot lighter weight that you can fit in small spaces and still have a larger area that gives us that soft look. So hopefully we'll invest in the Aputures soon enough.
Everything's
Aputure
color now.
is the F22C and then the 600C. But I like to see more competition because Aputures are pretty expensive. Love seeing more people jump into the game, drive the price down.
It's always good to have options.
Oh, and they have teleprompter.
Teleprompters. It seems like every couple of years there's always like that new brand that, starts coming up a little bit. And some of them fade away, but then some of them turn into like the big company like Aputure.
Yeah.
Who else is like that?
Oh, that's a really interesting solution here too. So like this
What do you
light
like?
mat. Oh my goodness. There's
Super thin,
an
super
F22
lightweight.
as well. Man,
The Godox.
Godox
and then-
might actually have the better. So the issue though is, if you do go with another brand, then of course you don't have the one solution for it all, right? You don't have the app that controls all your lights. Then you might have two different apps. The one thing about like Aputure is at least the one app controls the both brands. You have the Amarants and was it the Light Storms, the other ones? But
Sidus
I don't
Link.
know. It's cool to see other brands making the tech to compete, but also it's very frustrating when you're like, oh, theirs is slightly better, but I think I'm going to stick with my one brand because I'm already heavily invested in that ecosystem.
That's how they get you. It's like lenses, it's like software. Yeah. Get you hooked. But usually there's the breaking point. Usually you find the time where you say, yeah, I'm going to switch systems.
Right. Is anyone interested in knowing what we're running and gunning with? If they want to see that, well, if they watch the podcast after the fact, all the footage is coming from our GH6s. So GH6, this is the 25 to 50 1.7.
Talked about that lens in my stream last night.
Oh,
it's
did you?
A great lens.
Nice. Yeah,
beautiful lens.
Join. But we do have the black satin. I think it's the 1/8 black satin on here. And then I also have the ND, which not a lot of people know about these things. This specifically is the UU rig. It's for any filter really, but we use them for like variable NDs because obviously there's no built-in ND on this system. It'd be kind of ridiculous to walk around with a matte box and be switching NDs. Or if you wanted to screw one on, you'd kind of have to live with it. But because of this focal length, I'm able to kind of look right through it. If it was any wider, you'd probably have some severe vignetting. But for the most part, I can just flip this up.
How is yours tight enough? Because whenever I screw into the filter like that,
so it depends on, for some reason, now these are all from eBay. Like I got mine.
Oh,
on
you're
eBay.
saying the
I think just the manufacturing of that
Okay.
ring, sometimes it's slightly longer because
Gotcha.
I do have other ones that it is too long and then this just like is
yeah,
loose.
the one I have is
It
super
hangs
loose.
down, yeah, which I'm sure you could
Something
probably
to
like shave it down maybe.
Maybe.
But
Someone asked if there was something we came here that we're excited about seeing.
no, not at all actually. Like we came here on a whim. I haven't been excited for NAB since pre-pandemic personally. Like there's nothing to be excited for to see here because like Strong's, we were talking about this when we were coming, like just walking up because so many YouTubers, like everyone gets sent gear to review like months in advance, right? So the day to release it, everyone has a unique review and hopefully if you have, you know, a trusted source, they're gonna have the best take on it regardless. So why spend the money to come out here? We did, but we
It's
are
close.
also very close.
Yeah, Vegas isn't too far for us.
So, and also it's,
but we weren't planning on coming this year.
no, but the people who are watching this right now, obviously they didn't come, but it's nice to see people that you're familiar with go and experience because they might have, you know, different, better take and they can ask questions. So, hey, go check out that booth. You know,
Yeah, tell us where to go. Someone said
they can live
Atomos
vicariously through us right now.
Someone said in the chat that Atomos has a new sensor, but I don't know what that means.
Atomos has a new sensor. Why would
Atomos have a sensor? I don't understand.
I'm sorry, but not to be a dick.
We can go to the Atomos booth. We swung by earlier. I didn't see anything.
Personally, I love Atomos. I use the Shinobi. I try to get Strons onto that train. One question I had, so this Shinobi is the 5-inch, only has the one HDMI, so there's no, you know, output, the larger Shinobis.
Yeah, no pass-through.
Yeah, there's no pass-through. But the one that I own also that they don't make anymore, see on the back here, there's a spot for SDI. So they used to sell a version that has the HDMI and SDI, which is great. So when I'm running and gunning with like a FX6, for instance, it's really nice to have an SDI. But for some reason they discontinued it, but they have it available in the 7-inch version. So I don't know, every now and then you'll see it, but I highly recommend it. I love these small Shinobis. They have so many features that are just so easily accessible. So I don't know, good stuff.
I was saying before, I haven't gotten so old that I need glasses.
Glasses?
Yeah, these ones.
Do you need glasses?
No, I don't. But I'm wearing them because they have cameras in them. They're the Ray-Ban Stories.
But I would say for anyone looking for a monitor, get something that you can reliably use like false color. False color is probably like the most used tool on my monitor. So it's not just so you can see the picture larger, but for you to actually dial in exposure correctly every single time.
Have you tested any of those false color LUTs?
No, I've seen people that use them. I just don't want it to be more complicated than it needs to be.
Sure. But on like if you didn't have a monitor, you can load LUTs into cameras that can take it, like the GH6. You can put LUTs on that give you the false color.
It definitely seems to be a lot of work when you could just set
It's
like
it's
zebras.
a hack, yeah.
If you can easily just set zebras to like whatever you want your skin exposure to be at. If you want it more cinematic, like a 55 luminance, you can set your zebras to 55. Check it real quick.
This is the way we're going. Yes, it's a little bit of a hack, but it is an option, which I think I saw it in a Caleb Pike video, and I said, oh, that's a unique way to solve that problem.
It is.
If you have that problem.
It is unique, that is for sure. It is a thing you can do. I was goofing around the other day and made a luminosity mask in Premiere. I didn't think that was going to be possible, but
ended up working out.
I duplicated the video, and then I added a track mat to the video on top, and I think on the bottom video, I just made it black and white, added some severe contrast, and then just pulled down the highlights. But that was an interesting process. I wish, like we were talking about earlier, I wish Lightroom, all Adobe, I wish like they brought some features from Lightroom into Premiere, and I wish they would,
it's so silly that they haven't done that yet. That made Lumetri...
Like an easy luminosity mask in Premiere would be fantastic.
Just make Lumetri like Lightroom. So silly.
But that's too inside baseball, maybe.
I'm looking for...
I would like to have a stronger way to get the most dynamic range out of footage in Premiere, because it's not the strongest coloring software.
Right. The times where we've had a window in the background that hasn't been blown out.
Right. It's just
but
difficult.
Pulling that back in can be a challenge in Premiere.
Yeah, because it wants to have everything together in one, instead of, on DaVinci you can have several nodes to control oddly specific things. It's just much more difficult to do in Premiere.
I'm trying to find the Comica booth and I don't see it. It seems like it should be over here. There's the Deity booth, sound devices.
Oh, could probably check the app.
Yeah, it should be, well, of course I'm using my phone right now, so I can't check my list. It was 6230, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Maybe back here on the back side of something. Nope. So yeah, any new cameras? RT365. Are there new cameras? You seen any new cameras? The Lumix S5 Mark II is not new.
Yeah, I was gonna say, again, I'm not really, on our way here, Strons and I were talking about, there's nothing really new in the camera space that really got our attention. I kind of mentioned the DJI, the new Inspire 3 that came out.
Yes.
Like that is a significant upgrade from the 2, which I never, you almost needed the 2 pilots, right, for the Inspire 2 and Inspire 1, but with the 3, they made it much more friendly for one person to operate everything. So that, personally, I was like, man, that's a much more interesting drone than the smaller versions. Being able to shoot, raw, dual native ISO. But...
And yeah, someone said Atomos has a new 8K global shutter sensor.
Atomos.
But I don't know if that's a camera. They just said it's an 8K global shutter sensor.
Atomos has a camera?
According to somebody in the chat. And someone watching is in Portugal. So hello, I was actually just in Portugal almost a year ago, exactly. I filmed for a week in Portugal. That was a lot of fun. It was a good trip.
We walked by the Atomos booth.
I didn't see anything,
Didn't have hardly anything.
We can
on
go over
display.
there and check it out. Did you any luck finding the Comica booth? I would use my phone, but that's how we're doing this. Please let me know. Look good, sound good, good enough. I think I got decent signal. Tilta has a new nucleus wheel. Our setups these days are, I don't want to say bare bones, because they're not bare bones, but they are heavily simplified.
It's not that it's bare bones. They're the exact tools we need to do the job that we know that we're going to do.
Efficient. Not even simple. Simple's the wrong word. Just dialed in. Bring what you need.
We've done it enough where, as you can see, my camera backpack is a normal backpack.
Yeah, we hopped on NAB this morning with just backpacks.
In years past, I had the biggest camera bag with all of the tools, and with enough experience, you realize that you don't need half of that. Let's see here.
Useful in certain situations, but...
What would be useful is better reception.
Oh, maybe I'm stealing it all.
Yeah.
Someone said it sounds great. Yes, we are using the DJI mics. Very helpful that they have the little magnetic clip. Very handy. 2 mics, 1 receiver. When you get to Atomos, can you interview them? What would you like me to ask? The Atomos booth. What kind of interview? Am I grilling them?
Man, they do not make it easy to find.
I'll ask them why
Download the
their
app.
booth
There
is
we
so
go.
small compared to years ago. Do you remember years ago when people were cheering Atomos, Atomos? Rah, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, because they're Australian. They're from down under.
That's when the... we can keep walking around.
Yeah, I'm downloading the app right now.
Oh, downloading the app. All right, cool. We'll get some answers.
NAB show would like to send me notifications? Absolutely not.
What are you guys' opinions on using gimbals? You have thoughts on gimbals, David?
Comica. Oh, us? I bet you're asking the audience.
No.
I
You realize it, or your back tells you that's too much.
Again, certain situations, it makes sense. Like in this odd situation that you found out that your phone doesn't incorporate the stabilization, then
Yeah, I wish, and I do have a phone gimbal. I wish I had it.
Comica doesn't even come up in the exhibitors.
What?
Are you sure they're here?
They are. I messaged them on Instagram.
Maybe they're here, they just didn't get a booth.
No, they have a booth.
We'll be standing around.
Check their Instagram.
We'll be
It's on their
standing around
stories.
all the
It's
other-
on their stories. So gimbals are great if you are in a situation, yes, like this, where you have a very lightweight device that you're trying to keep stable and it doesn't have any stabilization of its own. However,
I don't like the look of
yes,
up and down bobbing, personally.
yes,
So
the
like if you're
gimbal
gonna-
look.
you need to make sure that you, well, but here's the thing, here's why I don't use gimbals is because we only use maybe like 2 seconds from every clip, and a lot of times
Yeah.
our footage is slowed down.
Slowed down.
So as long as you,
It's stabilized by the camera.
yeah, as long as you're stable enough,
you
then
do
the video should
you
be-
just gotta lock your legs a little bit and kind of lean.
All right.
So
6246.
6246.
All right, let's
Where
go.
is that? We're right there. Look, 62. Look, we're right there. It has to be down this line, right?
There's concrete.
But they put the carpet down, the purple carpet. Someone says Glad. Oh, Ron.
Maybe
Hey,
this is a
Ron.
later gram.
Where is that booth?
Maybe maybe they were like, this is years past. We just want to show face.
David Davidson. This is an iPhone. Yes, you are watching an iPhone. It's not. It's much simpler contraption
Now
than that
that's-
configuration.
My favorite thing I've ever seen.
That's how I should be doing it. Yeah.
That's, yes. Now that's run and gun. All right,
My
let's-
setup is basically, my setup is what David has here, a GH6, except he's got the monitor on top and I've got an iPhone on top. So my iPhone is what's streaming. The only benefit, the only upgrade is that we're wearing the microphones, the DJI microphone, so it doesn't sound terrible. Deity makes great mics. I have some Deity mics, but they didn't work well with the transmitter and receiver I had. So I think, yes, it's that's a contraption. The Deity stuff is great if it plays nicely with everything else you have going on, but for whatever reason, I got a Deity mic that had like a buzz because I think I was trying to use it with a Comica or something like that. There was some configuration where it wasn't playing nice. So yeah, 62. What'd you say?
46, 6246.
It's maybe is it on the other side of the building?
Possibly.
Is it
That would
possible that,
actually
like-
make more sense based on their photo because it's more concrete. See how much concrete's down there?
Lots of concrete. All right,
Wait,
we'll head to the other side.
What's behind them? Let's do some triangulation.
Ooh.
What are the booths around them?
Stocking them. So we'll try and walk across, and we might run in. The Atomos booth should be around here somewhere, so we might run into them. Oh, Sennheiser. Someone said Sennheiser has new G4s using new UHF technology. We've stopped using the UHF mics.
Oh man,
gone.
Comica follows me. Should I follow them?
Purely for the 2.4 gigahertz transmission, which for maybe probably doesn't transmit as far and maybe is less reliable, but I find it's actually more reliable because I get less interference. So depends on the shoot, depends on the day, depends on the location. There's always so many factors at play. But I have found much more reliability in the 2.4 gigahertz transmitters and receivers than anything UHF. UHF always gets all staticky and buzzy, and even if you scan for a new frequency, it still gives you grief sometimes. All right, so the Aputure booth. Which booths have you been to so far? Cameras. Sorry, I missed that in the chat. So we spent the first couple hours today just walking around, getting the lay of the land. And honestly, I wasn't even planning on streaming. But then figured, I had my phone, had the microphones. Figured I'd give it a shot. So glad it's working. If it stops working, if I lose signal, we'll stop the stream and we'll go back to shooting B-roll. So that's what we did. We spent the first 2 hours doing B-roll.
Let's go.
And do you guys know if iFootage has something new besides monopods on their booth? I don't. I haven't seen the iFootage booth. So
Okay, we're around almost 6,000-ish.
6,000.
Right? 6,000. Okay, the other way, I think. We will find them. We will find them.
I didn't know that'd be this hard. Maybe. Nanlite? No, we have not gone to Nanlite. If you passed the SmallRig booth, please check out the Free Blazer tripod. Let's go look at the Free Blazer because SmallRig is right there.
Ah, Comica, found him.
Found them?
Right there.
Hey! We've got SmallRig right over there, and we've got Comica right here. All right.
All right, what are you interested in seeing here?
Oh, I like all these things. So here, I'll show you all.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Doing well. Zoe?
Hi.
Hi. I'm Strauss.
Oh, Strauss.
Yeah, hi. But I like all the Comica stuff.
Here is the wireless systems.
What's the newest?
This one is the newest release products here.
What's
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
okay.
And the receiver is here. Magnetic.
Gotcha. Rechargeable case.
This is the release.
Oh, these are sweet.
So of course, so my audio dropped out. Everyone in the chat, my audio dropped out because I was getting a call.
Yeah, it was Christopher.
Yeah.
He's calling me right now, actually.
Saying, hey,
Hello?
sorry, I'm live streaming. Apparently, yeah, if you get a phone call,
Hey, what's going on?
the audio will dip out.
We're at NAB right now.
But yeah, the Comica stuff is great. We use, the Boom XD.
Yeah.
That one's great. But these ones they have the rechargeable case, which is cool.
I'm sure you can.
Case. There is the.
Oh, sweet.
Ah,
Yeah, feel free to stop by.
Which I really
We're gonna be
like.
here for
This
another
one,
few hours.
yeah.
Head to the airport.
This one's great, the VM10 Pro.
Yeah, we have the Pro.
Yes.
Do you like the digital output?
I do, yeah. I actually ended up using it. Normally, I don't use
Cool. Sounds
digital
good, man.
out,
Yeah, let me know.
but I needed it the other day for something
All right,
odd and random, and I was like, I'll use that microphone for it. So it was perfect. Someone wants to know, do you have anything that's 32-bit float? I think the answer is no. Yeah, no. So I figured, but I had to ask.
Try to get it.
Oh, you're gonna try?
to get it.
All right. That's what I like to hear. They're gonna try. You're gonna have something. I got to imagine, because everyone's gonna go to 32-bit float eventually.
So you might just close your camera so I can show you some unlinked things.
There's no, I can't. I'm live right now. I'm live.
Oh, you're live right
I'll
now.
come back. Yeah, I'm live. Say hi.
Hi. Hello there.
So yeah, I'll come back for some secrets. All right, we'll go to SmallRig. Check them out. Someone said we got to check out the free bird. No, it wasn't the free bird. Dogbird? Bird dog. Bird dog. No, bird dog is the other one.
Yeah, what was
Oh,
that?
what's in here?
It was a company called Bird Dog. Oh, it looks Kino.
Just gotta like walk through here, I think. The Free Blazer.
Is this where we do the music video? This is the music video? This is it?
Just go in there. I'll shoot some B-roll.
Is it in slow motion?
It will be. All right, we get the Free Blazer.
What's the
From
free
SmallRig. Free Blazer.
Wow.
Ooh.
You know what always amazes me more than the actual like products is all the infrastructure that goes into actually building these booths.
I know, right?
Like that's much more impressive to me. Booth
'Cause that's-
technology is.
On the stream, it looks almost like a banner, but that's an LED
Oh yeah, that's totally.
because you can see it moving. All right, David Davidson wants us to go look at the tripods from SmallRig. Are you going to spin the wheel?
SmallRig has tripods.
Apparently, they have a monopod of some kind.
Ooh. Yeah, monopods.
I see the tripods back
Yes.
there.
Who has a good
Here's someone we could talk to.
monopod that I purchased?
Is it the iFootage?
Yeah, theirs.
Yeah.
Theirs is super nice. You can twist the telescoping center pole
Yeah.
on one of them. One of them is really nice.
Yes. Do you have a monopod called the Free Blazer?
Free Blazer is actually a tripod.
A tripod. Okay.
Yes, it is right over here.
Gotta go find it out.
Yeah.
And
This guy right here.
and what makes it so great?
Do you use a DJI gimbal?
Not often.
So for DJI gimbal users, DJI actually puts on their Manfrotto plate. They actually put this thing in the bottom where it actually kind of prevents it to going on like some tripods. So what we did was we
okay.
actually just put this little switch right here.
Gotcha.
So you can actually you don't even have to use this. You can just use the DJI plate that you have, either the RS2 or the RS3, and then you can just quickly, drop it in there. It's got an extendable arm, so this is the longest that it'll go, and you can also collapse it as so. It's a 75 millimeter bowl, carbon fiber. It'll hold up to 55 pounds or 22 kilograms. It's got spikes on the bottom, so you can just remove this part right here.
Spikes on the bottom.
Yep. So if you're shooting in soil or anything like that, you're pretty much covered. Or if there's a zombie apocalypse, you're covered as well.
There you go. Do you have anything that has the telescoping pole?
The telescoping pole. Do we have like a monopod? Yeah.
Or a tripod? Like
the handles themselves?
No, so the telescoping pole, it's common on photography tripods, right? So like if you're doing an interview and you're like, oh, I need to be half an inch higher.
To like extend
Just-
higher.
Just come up, yeah.
So for the video tripods, since they're video centric, these ones don't have a.
Andre, what's up?
These
bro?
ones
Okay,
don't-
finish your stuff, man.
These ones don't have like an adjustable.
You're right. I was saying, do you have one that's like that?
I don't think that's small.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. No worries. I was always curious, looking for that kind of.
And I don't know if you said it, the other features. One of the cool things, carbon fiber legs. So this whole setup is only 5 kilograms or 11 pounds.
11 pounds? That's pretty light.
11 pounds, pretty light. That's with the tripod head, and then can take a payload capacity of 22 pounds, 10 kilos.
That's great.
Compact, heavy duty. Its feature there is quick adjustments. Each leg, all 3 columns on each leg is controlled by a single latch each. So unlatch the 3 latches.
It's not double. That's nice.
Right.
Okay.
Right, instead of 2 or 3, you just have a single latch on each leg. Goes up to 77 inches. So it is a tall tripod.
Very tall.
I would need like 3 Apple boxes to stand on to get that. And then let me see a few other, just neat features. Is of course like end users always in mind. There's a silicone grip here.
Okay, yeah, let's see.
So that just makes when you have like a 20-pound camera on here.
Yeah.
Just adjusting it over and over. I mean, it beats the awkwardness of like trying to hug it, or like getting pinched by the tripod. It just makes it a lot easier. I think Carlo was already telling you about the RS3.
Yes. Compatibility with the gimbal.
Telescoping tripod arm, tension adjustable for dampening to make pans and tilts easier.
Very helpful.
Right, exactly. It's counterweighted, so it makes it a lot easier to make those nice, smooth, slow tilted pans.
Love it. Very cool. Someone in the chat told us to come over here, so
Oh, gotcha.
you say hi.
Well,
Hello. They were excited. They said, "Go check it out." I said, "All right, we'll check it out." But very cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great meeting you. I'm Strauss.
David.
Nice to meet you. Lots of Davids today. David. It's another David.
It's a great name, man.
It is a great name. All right.
Very biblical.
Where are we headed to now? So I've got to go back to Comica to get the secrets.
I wonder if Slick has one, but what's funny is like typing in here, you can type in Canon, comes right up. Oh yeah,
Comes right up, yeah.
But then type in Comica. Is Comica with a I with
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. Nope. Comica just doesn't come up.
Weird. Someone said Zcam. We went to Kinefinity.
Now, are people actually interested in seeing these, or is it just like, oh, I remember in years past, Zcam used to be
Zcam.
cool.
That's on Instagram. They posted something about they've gotten some new 4 terabyte custom card for their camera. But we went to the Kinefinity booth, and he gave us a nice rundown. That gentleman, you remember his name?
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't remember his name at all. No. I remember going to the booth.
Have you been to Canon? No, we walked by the Canon booth. Canon's got, we can walk over there, I suppose. Show them the kind of cool setup. Someone says, I own Zcams, LOL, on their new light. Axoon has a new SDI CMO, if you can find them. We were over at Axoon talking to that guy right before we started the stream.
Now, do you shoot RAW? Is that...
How do I like the Lumix 35-100? I stopped using that lens because it was giving me wobbly stabilization on the GH6 anyway, so I stopped using it. And now we use primarily just the Leica, the 10-25, the 25-50, and the 50-200.
And we try to stay as stable as humanly possible.
Yes, and with the IBIS on the GH6, it works great.
Good.
Every once in a while, 1% of the time, it'll get a little funky if you're doing something crazy.
Well, it's just so nice that it's a smaller sensor, so you could, it does a much better job at stabilization than, like the Sony cameras that we've had in the past.
Yeah, the stabilization is very nice on the Lumix cameras. So that's what we do. 35-100 is a decent lens for like that standard bracket of Lumix lenses, the 12-35, the 35-100.
The 25-50 1.7 is so clutch.
It's so. The Leica ones.
It's the lens that people think you're shooting full frame.
What are your thoughts on the S5
Is that the black one?
Yeah, that's the new one. So we saw it. It was in the box.
Yeah, it's the
still
cool
coming out.
one.
Yeah, it's the more expensive one that'll shoot.
Matte black, everything.
I do like the
they're
branding.
cool. I like the idea of like reliable autofocus. That's
more reliable.
Yeah, 100 times more reliable autofocus. Yeah.
But even the guy at the booth was willing to admit, like, it's still not quite on par with Sony or Canon.
Yeah.
They're not making any promises that they can't keep.
Well, anything's better than this autofocus.
Yeah, the GH6 autofocus.
It's just like contrast-based autofocus is just not something you should ever rely on.
But I personally, I can't speak for David here.
When you're doing live video.
So me personally, I don't know about David, but me personally, the GH6 does everything I needed to compared to the S5 Mark II. There's feature-wise, the autofocus, I don't necessarily need it, and
you just have to know what you do, like know what shots you want to get, because if you're going to use the eye autofocus, use it for that that specific purpose. But if you don't need it, then you can get away with using your GH6 for
And I'm not ready to get rid of these lenses. The 10 to 25, the 25 to 50, and the 50 to 200 are just
it's
too good, and the Lumix full frame doesn't have the equivalent for it yet.
Yeah, because like going back to the conversation about using the gimbal, what we've found is that our style, our technique of filming, we've just learned how to be better filmmakers without having to use the gimbal technique or the gimbal moves. Like those moves, we've created other moves that we use a lot, for like the different shows we do, right? So for Paragraphic, we have a much different, unique style of filming than the stuff we do for the Problem Solved show, right?
Right.
Different lenses, completely different look, different feel, different, like I said, camera movements specifically.
As I'm walking around super shaky.
Yeah, well,
that's
that's just a limitation with YouTube.
But I could be more stable. Here.
Oh, is that what people are commenting?
I'm going to activate no one's commenting. I'm judging myself.
What's odd is YouTube does have that feature after the fact. You can stabilize.
After the fact, I can stabilize, but that's never worked for me. It's always glitched out.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm doing gimbal mode with my feet. I've engaged it. But I look like a strange person.
Yeah, it looks like they have the DJI Inspire 3 flying right now.
Oh, let's swing by there. What time is it right now?
It is just about 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. All right. Perfect.
I think, well, especially shooting Micro Four Thirds, because a lot of people give, Micro Four Thirds grief for not looking as cinematic. But like I was saying earlier, it's just like the way you decide to shoot things, right? It's like framing something up where you actually have depth in the background, so you can make your camera look as if it has, a shallower depth of field. And you get that look that you want, or at least what people expect. I don't know. What is high quality? We always have this conversation strong. It's like, what does it matter anymore, right? With social media, with everyone just like, well, you're competing with everyone who has a camera who's just posting. So is it worth it? Like, what's the worth it meter at, right? Is it worth it to have the perfect, most stabilized footage, or is it worth it to just create content consistently, quickly? Wait until I get home and then I'll stabilize it and then I'll color it and then I'll get all this stuff. But by then somebody's already live streamed everything, Is it first come, first serve? Is it, what is it? It's a constant balance. But I feel like we've been able to find the tools that we want to use, and then we've just figured out a way to become the most efficient with the tools that we have.
Yes, my mentality is do it like a content creator would, an influencer would, using their phone, but find the cinematic equivalent. So for me, that's a GH6 with a couple bells and whistles attached to it, and it operates, it's bigger than a phone, it's not in your pocket, but I can change the batteries. Like there's features to it that make it more reliable, where I can dial in my exposure, I can dial in my focus, I can dial in my white balance. It's not going to throw me any weird automatic curveballs. But the effort it takes is relatively similar to if I was using a phone, but I have a tool that gives me more control.
Yeah. For as much as, we've talked about, should we shoot on red? Should we get a Komodo? Look how small it is. Look at the dynamic range. Then you have to consider all the other aspects that make, like, it is a small camera, but then what else do you need for it, right? It's like all the other batteries, all the post-processing, all the hard drive space, all the specific, proprietary things that Red has. It's all those issues. Whereas the GH6 we could make look high quality with techniques, but it's the compactness of this whole system that allows us to create, we just hopped on a plane with a backpack, and enough batteries to last us a whole week,
Yeah, that's the thing. The bigger the camera, the bigger the accessories. Battery, like you're mentioning, if you're going to use a gimbal, you need a bigger gimbal.
Boxes.
Tripod needs to be bigger. Everything, cases, everything has to be bigger. The bigger the camera.
The irony completely is, when you're first starting out, you're trying to get, bigger and bigger gigs that pay more money, whatever it is, but you're starting out with gear that doesn't necessarily look professional. So what do? You buy the matte box, you buy all the things to make it look beefy, and then you get to the point where it's like, okay, I can actually afford, cameras that can actually do the work, and then of course you have a reel, then you don't need to show all that stuff because you have the reel. And then it gets to a point, okay, now do I need to upgrade to like the professional camera? Because if they're gonna hire me, they're expecting to see a red camera or whatever it is. But then you need the whole dog and pony show that accompanies a red camera. Because if you don't have an AC, what do you even do in operating a red camera? But
What do they say? More money, more problems?
yeah, but like I said, it's not that like somebody couldn't run and gun with a red camera. I know a couple of my friends run and gun with it, but there is the startup boot time. There's all these other factors that you have to take into consideration. Granted, you can get a great looking image. The global shutter on it's fantastic. I constantly am talking about how I wish I had that, but from what we're able to use on the GH6, we can pump out content that looks high quality because we've had enough practice and experience.
And no one watching even knows or cares.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about like the me nerd.
Oh, here's
right?
Adam.
Like the
Let's pop
nerd
over to
inside of
Atomos.
me that's constantly curious.
Yes, you're
What they shoot on. How to make it look that way.
self-critical, self-analyzing, looking at other people's content, wondering how they did it, looking at your own. How
Well,
can
it's
I make mine look like
it's
that?
more so how can I get mine to look better, and then trying to figure out like what are they doing. It's like how can I be better, and then talking to people, and then you find out what you're using a what?
You're using a Lumix GH6?
Oh my goodness.
That's not full frame.
Yeah.
Well,
Like switching from the different filters. Like for the right now we're using the black satin, but before that we used to use the Pro Mist. Right? It's like those small tweaks because we figured out that the black satins just had a better representation when it came to like the skin tones. It's a little bit more contrasty, so it doesn't bloom the whole image.
yeah, I think the black satin is not the most popular, but it's definitely a sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see anything here about a sensor.
I think it was all a ruse. They just wanted us to come over here.
They wanted someone from Atomos told us to come.
Yeah, it was all a ruse.
So these are like, see, SmallRig has lights too. So these are like the 350D SmallRigs, and like they're all nowadays like they're all the same. I feel like. Someone said this conversation is better than the show itself. Thank you, appreciate that.
What's the
Whoever
show?
said that.
Oh, they have their show going on?
No, NAB, the NAB show.
Yeah, their show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, who's on the panel? Someone from broadcasting?
I don't see anything at this booth about a sensor.
It's always good to hear that. Some positive reinforcement's always good to hear.
What's your go-to variable ND?
Well, this one specifically is the KNF concepts. So, I guess. So this is the 128 is the max on this. I think ND8. Yeah, ND8 to 128. So it's a much thicker filter because, like, we have like lighter filters, but if you're going to use an ND, you kind of need it to cut down the harshest light. At least I've found, because at the bare minimum, I can like stop up if I absolutely need to get my exposure, but for the most part, I'm going to be like outside, and I actually need a very strong ND. So the 128, something that goes up to 128, variable. That's what I would recommend, especially for a run and gun situation.
For run and gun, but we stopped using variables for...
We stopped using variables when we're doing intentional scenes because of the vignetting. A lot of
And the polarization in the sky.
Which,
So we were doing outdoor shoots, and you'd see like the black hole sun, and go, yeah, that doesn't look right.
yeah, there's just,
Let's stop using variable NDs.
yeah, like color's not as great either. It's just,
Yeah.
not as consistent, but
It's a more annoying, more cumbersome to swap, and I find typically when we're doing the fixed NDs, it's like an ND64.
Yes.
Is like the outdoor go-to.
Yeah.
Which
you
we'll
don't
shoot
wanna
it
go-
like a 2.8.
yeah, you don't want to go too strong either because the color is just going to be way off. Like the stronger the ND, the worse color you're going to get out of it. Like you're going to get less accurate colors overall.
And I think those, the static NDs, the fixed ones, those are KNF concept as well, which is a pretty affordable brand you can find on Amazon.
You can find.
I would say they're like, was it like $80, $100 for like a kit of 4 of them, probably?
Yeah, I was going to bring it, but I decided to go reach back into the old bag because like I
That's
said,
so helpful.
we
That
don't-
little flip out thing.
the UU rig. filter system that screws on. So beneath here is the black satin, and then this has the ND. So no matter what, I'm always shooting through a black satin.
Yes,
But-
you wouldn't want to take the black satin away with the ND, which is an easy way to make a mistake rigging it.
And then also the bottom of this too. This is a Kessler. I forget. I think it's the Quick Plate.
XL, right? The big boy?
Yeah, this is the big one, which I love having because as opposed to having rails, something like this you can easily set down. It has like rubber grips everywhere. So this is bare bones, exactly what I need. It has a handle. My monitor can swivel around.
Did we find Tilta? Did we walk by Tilta?
We may have.
We may have.
Oh, this is probably like one of the most underrated features on this camera. I feel like
Oh, the
having,
tilt,
having
yeah.
this ability.
And the flip out combined?
Yeah, so one of my favorite things to do that you can't do on, well, previous generations, I think GH5 that we used to shoot on before. But the ability when I'm zooming in as I'm recording, that the bottom screen punches in and I don't have to do anything on my main monitor. So if I'm trying to find my focus, I can watch the bottom screen and get exact focus, but my top screen, I can still have my framing the way I want it. Which, again, that's just one of the reasons why I love this setup.
If you're looking for new cameras, new products, the best way to find it is honestly online. It's very hard here to know what's like new. They don't put signs up. So here we're at the Canon booth. There's nothing that says new or hey, look at me. It's just all their normal stuff. They kind of have this here. We'll go show you.
They've
I
had
like when
this
they do
same
this.
booth setup for the past since 2014.
Classic.
At least for Mother.
So they have these nice little setups, so you can play around and have something interesting to film. But
Good stuff.
yeah, that's the one thing. It's cool to be at NAB, especially if you don't have the opportunity. Sorry that we get to be here and you don't. But it's almost easier to find news and information online as opposed to walking around.
Way
walking
easier.
around is fun if you want to see something in person for some reason.
especially-
like seeing a light. Like okay, we were over at GVM, right? Compared to Aputure. How does this plug in? I'm looking at this very specific thing, and in the product photos, it's hard to tell how this one cord connects. So that's the benefit of being here. You can see that kind of stuff. But as far as like what's new or what the announcements are, it's very hard to tell just being here. You're much faster and more equipped on the internet and on social media.
We've been to a couple booths where I've asked the people standing, it's like, how much does this cost? And they were like, ooh, that is a good question.
Let me check.
Let me get back to you.
Let me Google that real quick.
So like, oh, okay, well, I guess I could Google it as well. So I ended up Googling it faster than he was able to go check the price sheet. But, that's just modern technology at its finest, I suppose.
Yeah, Ron says this seems a little empty.
Oh, it's
And I would
completely
agree.
bare bones.
Bare
This
bones.
is a much smaller
It is a
convention
Sunday.
than it used to be in years past. But it's
it
also
is,
much
yes.
smaller.
It is much smaller.
There's much less fanfare as we walked in. In years past, it used to be almost,
Twice the size?
Yeah, twice the size. Just on the outside looking at it, you had no question that this was NAB. This year, people seem to be walking up like, is this the building? Is this it?
Can I get in here? Yeah, my instinct was go to the South Hall.
Yeah.
I was expecting to go in, and I made a comment to you walking up, like, where's the banners? Where's the ads? Where's all the stuff? And the South Hall was just like empty. It's just North Hall.
It is interesting. It's almost like retro being here, It's like, oh, cool.
Cool.
Like, remember back when we used to come to NAB? Like, that's what it feels like. Man,
So
this is so nostalgic.
if anyone who runs NAB or has a booth as an exhibitor and they watch this stream later, or maybe they're watching now, my advice would be in-person events are good for the social component, right? The getting together, the meeting people, the networking, the stuff you can't do online. Product announcements, who cares? Like that's all good for Instagram, for your blog, for your news announcement.